And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you. Sorry, folks. Joe was with me. There he is. What's coming right back? Yo,
I accidentally closed it out. Sorry.
you're having issues again, my friend. You're back to one dot, so you're gonna have to pop back in. Sorry, my friend. You're gonna have a nice conversation, I see, with your cable company coming up in the not too distant future. But once again, we're back with the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also as well, he's popping in and out like a ghost. Also as well, Inside Sports Fantasy Football. NFL Week 7 is on the way, and looking forward to some great conversations coming up for this weekend for your fantasy football team. We always love your interaction each and every week on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Also as well, of course, everything that we do with Joe Soro, Ox 1947, and of course what he does at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out Joe Soro, who's popping in and out because of his internet issues. He looks like 5 solid bars right now, my friend. Good right now. So go ahead and check him out if he's got good internet at the time at LakersBall.com. Plus, also as well, his company, Simblades with a Y.com, has better internet than his house right now. And you could go ahead and help him out by going ahead, if you're in the Southern California area, and getting a new lawn transformed today. So go ahead and check it out at Simblades with a Y.com. Our good friends, Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom, the number one Lakers blogger that's out there. And of course, Jamie Sweet, Mr. 5 Things. You could go ahead and check them out today at Lakerholics.com. Plus, always a big shout out to fellow channels, the John McCallion channel. And congratulations to John McCallion, who's lost 70 pounds. And he is definitely on the way to losing, I believe, 130 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. But he's lost 70 of it, and he'll tell you how he's done it on his streams right there, the John McCallion channel. Lakers in 5, they also cover the Lakers, and so does Empire Jeff TV. Go ahead and check out those channels as well. And please, if you can, like and subscribe. Please click on the little Joe above the big Joe to go ahead and get the latest notifications on when we go live with the latest Lakers Fast Break podcast. Dante says, waiting to hear what you guys think about Woods circling March game versus the Bucks. Well, circle it all you want, Christian Wood. Let's see, make sure you're a good part of the rotation at that point in time. I know that AD was giving a little bit of ribbing to Christian Wood, I guess, for not playing so well today and earlier today in an inter-squad practice. So hopefully he can go ahead and Christian Wood become a really, really good part of the rotation going forward, so he can circle that game later on against the Bucks. But we'll see. But here today to talk about LeBron, because it's season 21. And what should we expect heading into LeBron's 21st season in the NBA that will best fit him as far as the type of output, number of games? We talked about the number of minutes we're looking at, but what can we truly expect from LeBron in his 21st season? And here today to discuss that, a good man indeed. He is having internet trouble, but he's with us right now. It is the guy behind Simblades with a Y.com, and of course, Ox 1947 at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Looks like you're stable. All is good. You're not popping in and out like a ghost. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. We talked a little bit yesterday about the minutes restrictions that you would like to put on LeBron, which you and I both know, he does whatever he wants to and would check himself into a game if he has to. So I think if roughly we get around 30 to 31 minutes of LeBron, what are we expecting in the 21st season, the number of games, and just basically at this point in time, if you really want AD to step up as the number one, what do we expect for LeBron in season 21?
This team doesn't really have a number one. It's more of a 1A, 1B. And LeBron crowning, if you will, AD as the number one is grandstanding a little. LeBron isn't the type of player that isn't going to be one. He's going to be the one. And year 21 for an NBA player is unprecedented, really, in terms of being a player that is at the top of his game. In his 20th season, he averaged almost 30 points a game. That's just never happened. And I don't know if it will ever happen. Maybe it will, since, you know, technology and health and all those things. It could happen again, but it's not likely. As far as LeBron's season and what can happen, obviously that's going to depend on the activity. If he does indeed play only 30 minutes a game, I believe he'll end up playing about 70 to 72 games this year. And that would be sufficient enough for the Lakers to have him enough to where I believe they'll get a top 4 seed in the playoffs. And his effectiveness will be in his ability to get to the basket, with the lane likely being as open as it ever will be in his Laker career, because I believe the Lakers have the talent to open that up for him with the shooting that we've seen so far. And should he do that, should he be able to still get to the basket, because that's really ultimately his the weapon that made him what he is, the Lakers are going to be in a very good spot in terms of winning, because when LeBron gets to the basket and makes the basket, it's the most unempty points you can have. What does that mean? Well, there are plenty of guys that can score a lot of points and not really affect wins and losses. When LeBron goes to the basket and makes shots, especially if he gets and ones, it's very similar, not all the way, because I think Shaq's devastation in the way he got his 2 points did a mental thing to his opponents. But it's very similar in how the team does run into a kind of a lull and say, man, this guy is going to, pound us.
I think Scott Pollard still has nightmares, Joe.
Yeah, Scott Pollard was, well, I mean, that whole line, you had Vlade, you had Scott Pollard, no chance. No chance. But it wasn't actually Scott Pollard.
No chance.
It wasn't actually Scott Pollard. I think guys like Dale Davis, guys like Antonio Davis, guys that in any place on earth would be the biggest, baddest guys on the planet.
Yeah, those guys you wouldn't mind walking down the dark alley.
He would dunk over those 2 guys on him, and it looked like they were children. That's how. I really don't think people really understood how powerful Shaq was. He was making grown. It's not even grown men. A grown man is like 5'11", maybe 200 pounds, right? Would you say that's a good sized grown man?
Yeah.
These guys are 6'10", 250 to 260 pound men. And he would own them. Not one guy, own them. Once he got that ball, once he extended. So LeBron's layups are devastating to the opposition, because when you have someone that big making those shots and you have his teammates around him that are also a threat, you're just not going to have a good chance at winning that game. And that's what ultimately I think that LeBron needs to be to be effective. He needs to be that guy that can get to the basket. The game 4, the game that we blew after the second half, if you watch the first half, LeBron was going to the basket at will. I believe he ran out of gas and didn't go to the basket after that. In the second half, Denver made a comeback and won the game. For the Lakers to win a championship, there's 2 things that the Lakers have to do. LeBron has to get to the basket on a regular basis, which means he needs to not play as many minutes so that he can do that through a 4-quarter game. And the players around them need to make sure that lane is open and making the shots. And that's kind of the same thing. By having the lane open, that means they're making their shots. And it's as simple as that.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. I've got Joe Soro with a full internet signal. All right. And also here today, a good man indeed is the man from Toronto. It is, of course, the guy who came out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and stop by and talk about LeBron and his 21st season. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, great to have you here, my friend. You missed the opening with Joe. He has got a long conversation up ahead with his internet company. That's all I'll say. And as I was said in the chat yesterday, I really feel sorry for the internet rep that's going to get a earful of that. But be it as it may, I'm glad to have you guys here. Magic Man, your thoughts? I agree with Joe and also Dante in the chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there, the Lakers Fast Break. 30 minutes and under should be the plan. But in year 21, he still feels spry. You can see it in those brief glimpses. He puts out effort in the exhibition season. I'm not sure he'll comply with that type of plan in season 21.
Yeah, I don't think he will either, but you never know, Gerald. Um, Speaking of which, we were told that Joe Soro was going to be on the phone with Frontier today, so I was hoping to get that update. But I guess the day got away from him. He's got
a
an
busy
actual.
man. He
Oh,
owns
he's actually
the
got a
company.
business to run. Yes.
Actually, I was on the phone for a total of 5 hours today. I had to go to Palm Springs for a project, actually Palm Desert. I just did not have a chance.
Still the same thing.
But it's happening tomorrow morning. It's happening tomorrow morning. If you guys want me to record it and play it later, I can.
Well, they record it themselves.
We would love that. That's what we should use a Patreon for, as far as just to have that conversation.
No, Gerald, that will be their test call. They base all their customer service off this call that's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, that's why they record calls, specifically because of customers like Joe.
Hopefully they have an operator who's ready for Joe Soro.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is an interesting topic. So if you had to encapsulate, what to expect, there's only a handful of examples, Gerald. Wilt Chamberlain never played into his 39th year. So he's out. There's no comparison. You can't compare LeBron to Wilt in that sense. Kareem, there was a drastic drop off.
This is when he started scoring in the teens, and then last year he scored only 7 points a game.
Yeah, yes. Michael, again, can't really comp it because LeBron's going to be 39. Mike had a lot of great seasons at 35, 36.
But he took off, played baseball, then he came back.
And then obviously there was dramatic.
He became a post-up player.
Yeah, dramatic drop-off in Washington. So really, Gerald, there are only like a handful of careers that you can kind of.
But they're not in the NBA. They're in other sports.
They are in the NBA. John Stockton played well into his 40s, Gerald.
Okay, but what was his drop off?
It wasn't dramatic. It was noticeable, but it wasn't dramatic, and I think that's what we're hoping happens with LeBron, Gerald.
Okay.
Again,
I liken his career to.
Are you guys going by age or years in the league?
I'm going by age and years in the league because that's why I'm going into.
That's very difficult to do because a lot of these guys played 3 and 4 years in college, so I don't think you should base it off age.
Yeah. Okay. If we're basing it off age, well, let me say this: we're basing off age.
When Stockton was 39, he was still an effective player in the NBA.
13 points, 8 assists was his age 39 year. Just to give you an idea.
Right, and look.
You guys want to hear something?
Hold on, Joe. Gerald, look at the games played from 37 to 40. What do you notice?
Oh, his last 4 seasons he played every single game.
Every single game, yeah. So and Karl Malone was playing, 37, 38 minutes those last 2 seasons. So that's also, a different comp because Carl was probably the most fit, conditioned athlete that has ever walked through the door. If somebody can play 38 minutes at 38, 39 years old. So really, Gerald, and Carl averaged 20 points when he was 39. So if you're looking at a comp of, can LeBron average 28 and 7 this year in less than 30 minutes? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Tim Duncan couldn't do it. And Tim Duncan had a great year at 39. Top 10 in blocks. He was still top 20 in boards. But as Joe has emphasized, that team was built for depth, like around those three guys. They insulated those three guys. Duncan had a renaissance year. And it's gonna, like you said, Gerald, it's like there's a balance here. He's not going to, I think, take that path that Duncan did, but at the same time, again, there's really no comp. There hasn't been a player in this position before at this age. So I would say, I would bet against him averaging, like 28 and 7 under 30, but I think he could get close to it.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, Magic Man Sean Grice, and me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Truly appreciate it. If you like what you see with our show, please go ahead and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers Fast Break. We've been on virtually every day for months now. So go ahead and join us 6-7 days a week, each and every day here, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Plus, go ahead and check out not only our game action on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, so you can watch the game along with us, but also as well the post-game shows, which we do each and every game right here wherever you get your podcasts. When it comes to LeBron, Joe, am I wrong in equating it to Tom Brady? You have equated LeBron and Tom Brady as far as the alignment of their careers and how great they were at this particular age of their career. Because if you want to base it off of number of seasons or if you want to base it on age, I think probably the best comparison I could make for his level of greatness would be Tom Brady, because I don't find any basketball comparison. With all due respect to Magic Man, there is no real comparison as far as that level of player that I see in the NBA that has ever succeeded at this age. I would probably have to say you go into other sports personally, as far as like a Tom Brady would be for me, but you might feel differently, Joe.
The question is, do you consider football quarterback in the NFL more taxing than playing as a number one option in the NBA?
That's a good point. Excellent point. Because a lot of the average quarterback has a longer lifespan and career span. That's
because the rules are set in a way where you protect the quarterback, and we don't really know. At this point, we don't really know if the quarterback in the NFL truly takes the beating that I would say they used to. Likely not, but we're not there. When they get sacked 15 times during the year, I think if you look back on Brady's career, you could say he probably got hit at least or sacked at least 15 to 20 times a year, but then you're also not counting the hits that aren't sacks. Does that take a toll? Is that more taxing? That's the question that I actually ask myself. I would say my initial instinct says it's harder to do what LeBron is doing because there really isn't any protection, because your feet are hitting hardwood, your feet are turning, your knees are turning, your body is getting tweaked by someone D'ing you up and hitting you with their elbows and going to the line because you just got elbowed a little bit. That's roughly 60 to 80 times throughout the year when you factor in the games. And then obviously you have the playoffs too. So that's the question you need to answer first. If you can answer that question, then you'll know, okay, well, what can you really compare this to? in terms of basketball, you can't compare it to anything. You can't compare it to anything, really. It's just guys like Robert Parrish, guys like Kevin Willis, guys like Vince Carter were shells of themselves at the age and the years that they put in, that LeBron has put in. So you can't even put those guys in the category. Right now, LeBron is in a category that's not even close to anything but in terms of comparison to Tom Brady. Because Tom Brady at 38 was a runner-up for the MVP. Matter of fact, he was a runner-up for the MVP the following year as well, and then won the MVP at 40. So I want you guys to put that in your minds real quick.
And he threw for 5,000. Well, he threw for 5,316 yards at 44.
Right, and he was second in. He's kind of like Jack Nicholson, man. He has been second in the MVP, like Jack Nicholson was. I believe he was runner-up in the majors 19 times.
Yeah, Jack Nicklaus. Yes,
Jack Nicklaus. Yeah. Jack Nicklaus was runner-up 19 times. He's won 18 majors. Tom Brady has a similar resume in terms of MVPs. He's won 3 MVPs, but he's been second 4 times. And, take that for what it's worth. Bottom line is what LeBron is doing is unprecedented, and he's not done yet. If he plays a full season this year and doesn't burn out during the playoffs, and the team is set in terms of health going in the playoffs. Did I say Jack Nicholson? I'm sorry, I meant Jack Nicklaus.
You said Jack Nicklaus. I know, but I
meant Jack Nicklaus, guys. I know who Jack Nicklaus versus Jack Nicholson. And if he gets through this season with a championship, I just don't see how you cannot really say anything anymore about LeBron. It's really over. The debate of him being the greatest basketball player of all time, that's a debate that will never stop. I don't believe it'll matter in the end, because I still believe Michael Jordan was the best basketball player ever. And I think Kobe Bryant's the second best basketball player ever in terms of skill, no weaknesses, and just in terms of basketball. But this is including accomplishments. I just don't think I've ever seen anybody better than Michael and Kobe in terms of basketball. Those guys just happen to accomplish things as well. And then you have LeBron James, who's been obviously an amazing player, and he can set a whole new trend here with his resume, maybe even more than Kareem. You could use Kareem as also a barometer in terms of accomplishments and longevity, right? Longevity, accomplishments, Kareem is kind of where he's playing right now, and he might have exceeded it a little bit, especially if he wins a title this year. But that's kind of how it is. And one thing I want to make very clear, guys, it doesn't get talked about enough. LeBron has won 3 championships with 3 different teams and won Finals MVP in those 3 times. Now, he's won 4 total, but I mean, in terms of franchises he's played for. No one talks about that. No one talks about that. That's a very, I don't think we might ever see that again. Do you think they hold the
decision so much against him? That's part of it.
Honestly. That's really stupid.
Okay. I got something for you guys. Sean, you're gonna like this. This brings in.
It's really stupid, specious reasoning. If they do, that's really dumb.
But people still hold on to things like that.
I got an answer for you on that one. Okay. So, Albert Einstein was teaching a class. I just recently
here we
saw
go.
This. Okay, you ready? He was doing the 1 times 9 is 9, 2 times 9 is 18, 3 times 9 is 27. And he went all the way to 9 times 10 and put 91. And the whole class laughed. Obviously, I wasn't there. I'm going to embellish and say they were probably calling him like, hey, you're Albert Einstein, and what the hell? When I was hearing the story develop, I knew there was something coming up, right? I mean, come on, this is Albert Einstein, right? So Albert Einstein goes, look at you guys. I just gave you the right answer. How many times until I get to the one answer that wasn't right, and you guys jumped on me like a piranha on a leg that goes into a lake, right? And this is back when, guys. This is not now. This is not social media. This is not, modern world stuff. Okay, this is human behavior that's always been there. They got on him for one mistake, one, and this thing with the decision wasn't even a mistake. He's a free agent. He didn't demand to be traded. He got on TV. I'd say if anybody has any room to be angry, the Cavs. If I was a Cavs fan or the organization, they have the right. But Joe Schmo or whatever jackass that's out there that's living a shitty life, sorry I have to say it, and
16.
And is angry at LeBron. What are you angry at LeBron? What are Laker fans? Why do you care? Why do you care about the decision? I didn't care. But all these people, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. Did what? What did he do? He went in front of Jim Gray, told everybody I'm going to South Beach, which is technically wrong. He's going to Miami, but different story. It's that's not LeBron. That's people. That's that resentment of success. I call it the resentment of success. People that are just waiting. They're just waiting for you to screw up just a little. And Allen Iverson was doing an interview with Stephen A. Smith in the early 2000s about this. He goes, man, you make one mistake, and man, they're gonna be on you like flies on Sean's ass.
Sean, do you care to reciprocate on that? About said flies on said ass?
No. What am I going to respond with?
That's why I said it.
Okay.
It caught you off guard.
Yeah, well, it would catch anybody off guard. You almost had two there, Gerald. Yeah, I'll get back to that. That's a melon scratcher.
But also here today, a good man indeed. Please go ahead and check out his awesome channel each and every time out. It is Empire Jeff from Empire Jeff TV. Jeff, great to have you here. You did come in. It's a mini rant. It was a mini rant by Joe.
Little speed bump.
Yeah. Let him have some more. Let him have some more internet troubles with Frontier Internet.
Oh,
Then, like he's having the past couple of days, then you will really see the fire come out of Joe. But one of the things I want to ask you when it comes to LeBron, actually, Darren, in our best Lakers chat room that's out there, Lakers.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Gerald. Just a hot take. The
hopefully not about the flies.
No, not about the flies, but the best neighborhoods in South Beach are on Collins Avenue, not Ocean Drive. Just
it depends what your objectives are.
5 there.
There you go. They're giving each other a virtual 5. There you go. All right. Fair enough.
See, you don't need to worry about that with Apple because they didn't see it.
Well, one of the things that's true. Good point. One of the things, Jeff, though, that Darren brought up in our chat, the best Lakers chat room that's out there, Lakers Fast Break. He said with LeBron, though, it's 3 different stacks teams, Joe. He never won with the scrubs in the league, like the narrative pontificates. So your thoughts on this, and then we'll get it to Joe. We'll get it to you, but let Jeff get in here. His thoughts. I want to understand LeBron's legacy in your eyes, because we're trying to figure out in year 21, what should he play? What amount should he be at for this season in order for him to be at the best LeBron that you can get under these circumstances for the playoff run? So basically, we're trying to look at who LeBron is at this point in time in his career.
For the first part, about the question in the chat about LeBron on stacked teams, I guess it determines what you consider a stacked team. Almost everyone who has won has had a borderline stacked team. So as you look around, I mean, if there's no 2008 Celtics being formed, does that Heat even get formed? You know what I mean? It's just guys trying to outduel each other because they have to react to what these other teams are doing. Bron reacted to the Celtics. KD reacted to Bron. And it's just been kind of trying to one up each other from there. So as far as stacked teams go, I guess it depends on how great you think Chris Bosh was. And all those other kind of minimum deals they built around him. So I don't know about super stacked teams compared to like, you know what I mean? Like those 80s Celtics, the 80s Lakers. I mean, Kobe and Shaq is like having 4 superstars on one team. So it's like, I don't know how it just sounds to me like people want to hate them. So if they want to hate them, there's nothing you can do to change their mind. And I wasn't really a quote unquote Bron guy. Still really not a Bron guy, but he's a Laker. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to root against the best player on my team. But I think a lot of it is going into it. The Jordan guys don't like him. The Kobe guys, a lot of them don't like him. And I'm a Kobe guy. So I didn't want to be that Kobe fan that hated on Bron like Jordan fans hated on Kobe out the gate, you know? So I've always kind of never really rooted for Bron until he became a Laker. But I think the stacked deck thing is kind of crazy because multiple players had multiple teams that were quote unquote stacked. So that's that part. Second part, as far as I went a little long on that one, trying to forget
about his legacy overall, you know, and then trying to relate it to his 21st season.
Well, there's there's kind of a convergence of those two sides there, Gerald, because like there's always been that narrative that, first of all, Sports Illustrated called him the chosen one. Yeah, he tattooed it on his back, but they're the ones that foisted that title on him, and he didn't ask them to do it. They did it themselves. Then, as we've talked about, the decision happens, and Jeff is right. A lot of it is hate. A lot of it is misunderstanding, because that chosen one was a media narrative, Gerald. It was made up by the media. And obviously, it's like we've talked about it before. We understand what the means to the end is. It's about access, and the more praise, the more butt kissing you do, the more access you're probably going to be granted. On top of that, the whole Kobe LeBron narrative, I never understood, because their games were never alike. I never compared Kobe and LeBron like side by side. To me, they were two planets in the same universe, just on opposite sides of the transparent spectrum. But the fact of the matter is that, again, that was invented too. Like the puppets was those puppets were great fodder. Those were the best commercials that they ever made. Second is Lil Penny. They made
Lil
their
Penny
bones up. Yeah, Lil Penny was great with Chris Rock, but they made their bones off that one. And then the Kobe and LeBron puppets were just fantastic. But again, Joe, that was another media narrative that, you know, because LeBron at that time, Kobe was the best player in the NBA, unquestioned. But then got to make the narrative. Here's LeBron. LeBron is LeBron's secretariat and Kobe sham. So we got to give the light to LeBron. And meanwhile, Gerald, this is all converging, right? Because everybody wants to hate on him from the beginning up until now, right? There are some Laker fans out there who I remember them saying, and Jeff will remember this too, oh, I'm not going to be a Laker fan as long as LeBron dons the purple and gold.
But people that still say that now.
Yeah, and they're absolutely absurd, ridiculous. I mean, your logic has turned 180. It's gone somewhere else, and I don't really consider you a true Laker fan if you're willing to just stop supporting the colors and the team because there's a certain player on there that you don't like or you don't agree with or you can't stand, and so you're just going to reject outright what you support for really absurd reasoning.
Well, I will say, though, the debate goes back and forth in the chat. It is truly appreciated. But before I get back to Joe, Jeff, basically, how would you structure the season ahead for LeBron James in season 21, again, to try and get the best out of him come the playoffs when we need him the most?
I think I wouldn't particularly like to see him go more than 30 a game if it could be avoided. Well, camera switched up. If they can be avoided, I'd rather not have them go more than 30 minutes a game. I'd like to, get him to like normal rest and save that energy the best as possible. The thing is health. Is AD going to be on the floor enough? Is this team going to find chemistry and be able to stay in or blow out, teams early to where you can limit him to those minutes? But that would be my plan, to keep him about 30 minutes. But you can try that with LeBron, but he may not agree with it. So we got to see how that plays out. Is he going to be open to that? LeBron might still be trying to, pad this legacy with scoring. He may have a number in his mind that he wants to get to and just blow it out the water. I don't know what his objective is, but if it were me, I would say, pay me 25 to 30 if we're winning, and then try to stay fresh from there so he doesn't have those burned out legs and taking stupid threes in the playoffs, 10 feet behind the 3-point line instead of passing to someone else. And I guess my main thing with him would just be the minutes and just not as many threes this year. And then kind of just get him where he fits in. Like, I think LeBron can average 20 in his sleep, but I think he's wise enough to realize they got a roster now. If he involves these guys and gets them going and gets their stats kind of inflated, then the team is better and he'll be more rested and he'll be better in the long run. So if he can kind of do those things, let D'Lo have a role of handling the ball, kind of save some of his energy there, which could then, step up his energy on defense too. So I just kind of think if they can keep him at the 30-minute mark, keep him healthy, and they've got that excuse clause for him on the back-to-backs. So if they're start off strong, their record is strong, I'd probably try to get him to miss as many of those back-to-backs as possible with that excuse rule, and just try to take it easy. He's going to be 39 in December.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, you hear Dame talk about it. He's talking about like it's easy to play at 38, 39. So Dame out here talking crazy. So it's not, and it's only going to get harder. And as great as LeBron is, and as great as he was last year, and as great as he'll probably be again this year, every year he's going to start getting more tired towards the end of the season. And so if they can preserve that energy and save him for when we are going to need him the most, that would be ideal.
Joe, Intel Wild in the chat says stacked teams can be disappointments too. Just look at the Clippers from last year, and then also several teams. Like, for instance, when Brooklyn had, their stacked lineup, and there's been other examples where these stacked teams, these super teams, just have really not done well. So I think that when we go talk about LeBron's legacy, there's a determination whether or not, I know Darren's on one side of the fence and you're on the other in regards to the stack lineups are concerned. But what do you compare if let's say LeBron wins this year, do you compare it to this lineup that he has with him, a stacked lineup as far as it's concerned? Because the depth on this team is great, but the number of superstar players is not as, there's not a triumvirate. There's not a list of Hall of Fame players that he's playing with. There's a lot of really strong players and really good deep team, but this is a different team altogether than I think he's ever had before.
There's a difference between stacked team and a team full of superstars in their prime.
Yeah.
And comparing the last, let's say, 15 years of this super team culture that started with the Celtics. In the NBA up until 1988, there were only 23 teams in the NBA. That means 105 players less in the league, which means you had more talent spread out to 23 teams versus 30 teams. So to say that teams were stacked when they were winning championships in the 80s, yeah, there's some truth to that, but that's because there was 7 less teams in the NBA. You had the Celtics had Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge. 4 of those guys are in the Hall of Fame. Then you had the Lakers with Kareem, Magic, Worthy, all in the Hall of Fame. And then they had Bob McAdoo. They had Jamal Wilkes, all in the Hall of Fame. Granted, Bob McAdoo was kind of at the tail end of his career. Jamal, somewhat a little bit at the tail end of his career as well. So you can't really compare the 80s before 88. And even in 88, they only added Minnesota and Orlando as 25 teams up until the Toronto and Vancouver teams came in 1995. So with that, you have to understand, and you guys have heard me say this, context. Context is important. Even Gerald Glassford has a problem with context.
Here we go.
Okay. Context is important in life. Okay, I want you guys to hear two stories about the loyal ones, right? The great loyal ones. Matter of fact, we had one recently. Dame Lillard was loyal to Portland. And what happened? Couldn't win anything, right? The most popular one of the last 20 years, I'd say, Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett, almost identical to Damian Lillard in that he made one conference final in his time in Minnesota being a loyal guy. So would you all be patting LeBron on the back and saying, hey, LeBron, hey, look, you stayed loyal in Cleveland. Sure, you didn't win any championships, but we like you. No. You know what they would have done? This guy can't win anything. So LeBron told you all, okay, Dan Gilbert sucks. Cleveland sucks. I'm sorry. No one wants to go to Cleveland. Even Chris Bosh didn't want to go to Cleveland. So, and LeBron asked him. And I think Dwayne Wade said, yeah, I'm not going there either, right? I don't know if that's true, but I know the Chris
Everyone
Bosh,
said no.
the Chris Bosh one was for sure. So now what do you want LeBron to do? Do you want him to have a career like Damian Lillard? Do you want him to have a career like Kevin Garnett? If you guys don't know how the NBA works, if you don't draft superstars in Cleveland or Portland or Minnesota, you ain't getting squat over there. So what LeBron did was, I got to get out of here. And he did. And to say he had a stacked team, 2 championships in 4 years, no, I wouldn't say they were stacked. It was basically 3 guys and a bunch of minimum type players. Good role players, but still minimum. It was a 3-man team. So I'm not going to get on LeBron on that. I don't really care. Again, there's a reason why it's free agency. He has never demanded a trade, by the way, guys. He has actually been pretty good at just rolling with the rules. Hey, if I'm a free agent, I'm going to go here. If I want to sign an extension, I'll sign an extension. So no one talks about that, of course, because that doesn't fit their narrative. Now, I'm not going to front. LeBron is not my guy either. But that's probably a generational thing. It's a mentality thing. LeBron is a nice guy. He's a nice guy to the heart. He's a nice person. He's decent. Guys like Kobe are, and Jeff, I'm sure you can confirm this, or at least from he's a killer. We like killers. That's how we are. That's how I'm wired. I like killers. I want people that are like
assassins.
Kobe. Yeah, assassins. That's who I am. But that doesn't mean LeBron isn't effective. I mean, he's already won a championship. He's already put a banner up there. So any Laker fan that's upset and still not liking LeBron, yeah, you got to go kind of reevaluate your thoughts. Now, if it's something outside basketball, because I've been pretty adamant about LeBron's.
If it's something outside of basketball, IDGARA, it don't matter.
Right.
It don't matter.
Right. Now, and that's the point. The point is you can still comment because you have friends, you have family members who say stupid things too. You don't disown them, do you? I mean, some people do because they're stupid.
Sometimes I would like to.
Okay. Just because someone does something and you like them and they do something dumb and you say it's dumb doesn't mean you just went to the other side where Gerald Glassford is. You know what I mean? Like we that doesn't mean that. Guys, we can criticize our family, our friends.
That's better than the flies on the ass comment.
Right. So
why you gotta open
Pandora's box. So you got to deal with it now. So now we're at a position now, and the reason why I would get angry at him is I want you to be informed if you're going to talk about something important. If you're not informed, you're going to look like an idiot, and I'm going to call you out. I don't go around talking about astrophysics. Somebody tells me Pluto's a planet, okay, and then next week it's not a planet. Okay. I mean, I guess I can go research it. I don't have freaking time to go research astrophysics. I'm sorry, I don't right now. But I'm going to believe the people who are educated there, right? So that aside, LeBron James is going to be a Laker longer than a Miami Heat already. And if he goes into Tom Brady mode, he could end up playing for the Lakers more than Cleveland. And if he wins another title, Laker fans are going to have to realize that there might be another statue out there. It could be LeBron James. So get over it, guys. Again, you can be angry. You can say something about someone doing something dumb, in your opinion, but get over it. We're here to watch basketball. LeBron's a great basketball player. I want banner 18. Let's go get it. And that's how I look at that.
And also real quick, I think when you talk about the off the court stuff, I think the problem is LeBron never gave anyone any off the court stuff. So they have nothing to do but just to hate anything on the court. He never gave him anything to really punish him for. So
there's no juicy behind the scenes stuff.
No, he buttons up. He keeps it tight. Also, keep in mind that when they said that the league coming in the narrative with Braun, it was also around the time where Kobe was getting in trouble. So they sent that LeBron, they escalated that quick because Kobe was going to be that, the media darling and the pitch guy for the next 5 to 10 years. So when Colorado happened, they just rushed LeBron even further on that. So there's a lot of things that kind of led to that. And there's a lot of, Kobe fans that are upset because LeBron kind of got anointed and pushed probably a little too early, but there was a reason for that. And it's just a weird thing that the amount of people who wake up every morning to hate on this grown man is just,
it's not just
it's
him,
something I never
Jeff.
understand.
It's not just him. It's their miserable lives.
Yeah,
they hate on family members. I was in a lawyer's office with people arguing about their dead parent money, And by the way, I was in there after my father passed away, and I'm telling the lawyer, just give the money to my sister. I don't want to talk about this. I'm freaking devastated.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between those people are out there, and whether it's LeBron, whether it's their family, whether it's their neighbor, whether it's themselves, they're just miserable human beings. They're missing something here from their upbringing or whatever that's gone on in their life. But it's a waste of life, and it's a waste of time, and it should get called out. And I will call it out. LeBron James, and by the way, I'm not going to sit here and say LeBron, I'm not going to give him an award for not getting in trouble. I know a lot of these guys get in trouble, but you're supposed to not get in trouble. You're supposed to be a good family man when you have a family. I'm not going to give him a medal for that.
But you got to remember, the microscope is on him a lot more. I mean, the paparazzi. That's just the fact because he's more out in the club.
And that was the part. And that you're right, Gerald. And that part when
there's more chances for him to slip up.
Correct. And where I had a problem with him wasn't when I say outside the court, it was the social part of things. There was things he said and did that were not true. And when you have someone that popular and people who look up to him, if you're not informed and you're making a statement, you're going to dilute the message. You got to be careful. You got to be careful. If you don't know what you're talking about, don't talk about it. Say, hey, look, this is an unfortunate thing. I'm not saying be PC. I'm saying if you don't know anything about it, don't talk about it and say that you act like you do. And that's it. Other than that, we're here to watch basketball at the end of the day, guys. These are basketball players. I'm sorry. I don't look at athletes. I mean, Magic Johnson, yes, what he's done for the world. I mean, it's amazing. But I don't look at those guys. I look at those guys from a sports standpoint. That's what I know them for, and that's what I follow. If they do other things for humanity, hey, God bless them. I'm happy they do that. But I don't look at it. I don't look at that. I look at it at the sport.
Joe, PMC's asking in the chat if he likes to stream, will you give him a kiss?
Oh God, what is happening?
What?
Question is, will I get a kiss from Joe if I like this?
Corrupt Joe.
That was from something today, wasn't it?
I don't know what I stumbled into.
I think I read something about Mike Tyson.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Soro is very smart. This is what we call deflecting.
Look, let me tell you guys something. In my culture, we kiss grown men on the cheek when we meet them. Kind of like you've seen Italians do it, right?
And we're from friggin' Europe too. What's your point?
Right? It's a European thing. There you go. Good. Now that's the extent of me kissing another man. Sorry, I don't kiss men.
Okay. All right.
So
no
Magic and Isaiah situation going on.
That's fine. That's a greeting. That's a greeting. But as far as as far as the other stuff, that's not gonna. What does Hogan say, Gerald, in all his interviews? That's not going to work for me, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Brother. His reaction. Am I gonna what?
Oh, yeah.
Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. It is Empire Jeff from Empire Jeff TV, along with Joe Sorrell from Simblades.com. Also, as well, Magic Man, right there for you as well. The Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Magic Man, let me ask you this, bringing it back to LeBron. I noticed in our chat over the past few games, there's been some that have been saying how the Lakers seem to be playing better when LeBron is not in the game. And I don't know what the plus minus bears that out. I know LeBron looks like, he's had a couple brief moments where he's felt spry. The other moments where he's been in the game, he just feels like he's cruising and just getting into shape, or whatever shape he's already not in, which he looks still, even at this age, closing in on 39, still looks in fantastic shape. So your thoughts, my friend, on this? There's still, again, I don't want to say LeBron hating, but again, LeBron at this stage of his career, as we saw Empire Jeff pointed out, the first thing I would do is to say to LeBron, you got to cut down on those threes. You got to go to the basket more, maybe distribute a little bit more at this age. These are the things I would also suggest to him, similar to what Empire Jeff is saying. But I'm hearing a little bit more and more about the individuals out there saying that maybe the team plays a lot better or plays better, period, without LeBron in the game. What do you say to folks like that?
You're out of your goddamn mind.
Okay. How so?
Well, stop that right now.
He was just asking for a high five. That's all.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he's like,
There's the guy. All right, I'll give that guy a high five.
All right, fair enough.
Anyway,
fair enough.
yeah. Like Gerald, at this point, I think people are just, oh my God. So like, I think it's an attraction to your own criticism about nitpicking in the weeds. It's, I think if a lot of these people could run into their own arms onto the beach, they would. Quite frankly, first of all, it's preseason. So, I mean, any tangible, fungible numbers you think you can expound out of that, I mean, throw it out the window. It's preseason. Games don't count. Process counts, but the games don't. Secondly, secondly, they should play better with him off the court because, frankly, Gerald, it's been a while since a team with LeBron James on it could say something like that, because usually he's coming into a second quarter when you go to the first quarter with a +4, +6, and you come back and you're down 7-10. So the fact that they're building up a lead now, damn right they should. They're professionals. This is what their job is supposed to be. So I don't really think it should come as both a shock that the bench is this productive, and C, that somehow that's a negative reflection on LeBron. Well, how is it not a positive reflection? As if they know that they need to either keep up the pace of play or enhance it. Like what? There's always an attraction with the negative. Have you seen that, Gerald, in life? There's just an attraction to the negative. My father talked about that a lot. He said, never be attracted to the negative. Always be attracted to the positive. And I think that's what I'm looking at. It's actually a good thing playing well with him on the bench. How many Gerald, seriously, when he was watching this team last year, I would have really loved to have one of those, like, Edward Nigma, like, machines that actually hear what he's actually thinking about what he's watching, because
That's
I'm
such an
sure.
underrated performance by Jim Carrey. I really think that's an underrated
Oh,
performance.
100%. And as the Riddler in Batman Forever,
People
come on.
piss on that movie all the time, and I
Yeah,
just think
they
I think they're just
do.
missing out on a great Jim Carrey performance.
That was a great Jim Carrey performance. It was 100% agreed. And just in saying that, just off that analogy there, yeah, just to hear his own internal thoughts about what he was watching, because they couldn't hold the lead even with him injured. So I'm sure he's happy. He's very buoyant about all this, Gerald, because it means that at this point in time, if they are playing that well, then he can like really nitpick his efficiency, where he wants to cut people up, where he thinks the team needs a boost. This is why you got him, and this is why you got the depth.
So let me ask you this, Jeff. When it comes to LeBron, how are you gauging his season this year? How are you gauging about what his season will be like? Because I see numbers all over the place as far as what people are expecting. Some are still expecting the high 20s as far as points a game. Others are like, I think it was PMC that dropped a 19 a game, or was it Intel? I think it was PMC. But when it comes to it right now, it doesn't matter to me as far as the statistics. I think they are going to drop. They are going to drop probably quite a bit with the kind of depth that the Lakers have. The key, I think, is just trying to go ahead and make sure he is, I guess, is in good a shape as possible for a playoff run. How would you gauge that? How do you gauge his success for this season?
It's a good question. As far as gauging his success, it would probably be more or less of, to me,
Intel Wild said 19. Sorry.
To me, the best way to gauge his season of success is how many games does he play. That's what I would look at. So a healthy season above all is where it is at. But if you look at LeBron cares more about his stats than people think. So I would look at his career average. I think it's like 27 a game. It's somewhere around there. Let me look real quick. Hold on. I know he's like 27, I think 27.2 points per game. Okay. It's going to be somewhere near there. All right. Because LeBron wants to keep his averages up. So I don't know if that means he comes out aggressive, if he fills in the middle quarters, but I don't see LeBron averaging less than 25. Now, maybe in bursts, I don't know. I don't know if he's ready to take that step where he's like, okay, I'm gonna go down to 20. I don't know if he has that in him to do it. So averages mean a lot more than people think. And if he has even though this is his 21st season, a 20 point per game season won't drop his average crazy, but I don't think he wants that on his career stat sheet. I think he wants to go out of this for this portion of 25 and up, if you look at the majority of his career. And I see him kind of still aiming for that. But my thing, the great success for him would be games played. If he plays anything north of 70 games, that's a win. Obviously, he's going to probably try to pay the 65 because he wants some more awards. So anything above 70 games and anything north of 20 points a game, I think would be a success for him. I would like to see his assists go back up to the 2020 range, but it's going to be hard to do that if we want Austin and D'Lo and those guys to have the ball in their hands more too. So I don't know what their philosophy is. I don't know if they're going to plan to have D'Lo be the point guard and LeBron just goes in and says, nope, it's me. Or if it's LeBron's open to letting those guys have the ball, that'll change everything. So if he's willing to let D'Lo and Reeves have the ball more, then I could see his stats dropping. But he is yet at any point that I've seen him and willing to actually do that.
Do you see that possibly being the case, Joe, as far as him allowing more usage by D'Lo and Austin and allowing him to go ahead and be more of an off-ball player? I mean, that was also suggested in our chat yesterday, is they really think that LeBron should give it a try as an off-ball player. Maybe a little bit more catch and shoot. I don't know, something just where he gives himself better shots selection, because what he was doing last season as he got more fatigued, taking more shots outside from longer range with lower accuracy. I just don't think that's the answer. I just don't think that's the answer for him at this stage of his career, especially with the team that's around him that could do really good things this season, Joe.
If Jeff's correct on the fact that LeBron cares about his stats, that's not a good sign.
I agree.
We cannot.
I
we
agree.
cannot. We cannot afford. We cannot afford for LeBron to be thinking about his stats. This is about a game by game assessment of his usage, so that you can have him fresh for the end of the year. So obviously, it's going to be a little tough for him to play probably 28, 30 minutes in the Denver or Phoenix games at the beginning of the year. Unless the Lakers get to a massive lead and they don't relinquish it. So those are the games that he's going to play, let's say 35 minutes, which is what he played last year. But what's important is the 40 games that he plays against subpar teams where he needs to make sure he's not playing a lot. And LeBron is the scoring champion in terms of all time. He will score 40,000 points at some point. I just don't think anyone's ever going to get to 40,000 points. They would have to have an immaculate career like LeBron, which there's only really been one, which is Kareem. So, and even then, who cares? You're going to be judged by winning a championship this year. If you average 20 points and have 5 rebounds and 5 assists this year, and you win the championship, no one gives 2 hoots about your overall point percentage all time or your stats this year. LeBron is not. I don't think LeBron is dumb. I think he understands that he's not going to score 20. I don't think it's going to be that. I'd see, let's say 23, 24 maybe. That's what I thought. 23, 24, playing 30 minutes a game, 29 minutes. That's a good trade-off. And in the end, that means the Lakers are winning. The Lakers brass are handling their business. And we've got some proof that they already did it in big games. The Lakers maintained leads in the playoffs, and they didn't have the players included in what they have now. They didn't have Gabe Vincent. They didn't have Taurean Prince, who's going to be the 5th starter. They didn't have those guys on top of that. So the Lakers already got a little bit of a practice on LeBron kind of being the floater and LeBron being on the bench and actually extending leads when he sat down during leads. And we've seen in the preseason already, every game they've played, they came out they've played well out the gate with leads. So I'm using playoffs and this and the fact that they've added more talent to assessing the beginning of the year as why can't they continue that trend? This is basketball. It's not like football. Like Steelers were amazing this year in preseason. They looked like the Kansas City Chiefs on offense. And then, of course, as soon as preseason ended, they looked like this Pittsburgh Steelers offense in the first couple of games. So it's different in football. It's different. Basketball, even if it's a preseason game, a lot of times you can still see a lot. But we also saw it in the playoffs, and I don't see how, if it worked in the playoffs last year with a burnt-out LeBron and AD and the guys in general, I don't see how you got fresh team now, fresh superstars with more talent, how that's not going to at least somewhat continue.
Magic Man, let me hit you up this question from Intel Wild in the super chat. And thanks so much again, Intel Wild, for your generosity and kindness for the super chat. He says adding
Make
playoff
sure you
games.
send me that check, by the way. They're right there. Send it to me.
There you go. All right. Bron has played the most games ever.
All right, me. I'll come find
Can
you.
I finish the super chat question, please? And I'm asking our encyclopedia, although you are an encyclopedia yourself, adding playoff games, Bron has just played the most games, period, across the NBA history. Is that correct? Ahead of Kareem? Is that correct, Sean? Both playoffs and regular season combined?
Offhand, I think that's true, but I can't be sure, Gerald. I can't be sure.
Let me. We'll look it up here for you. Here.
He's played.
Ahead of Robert Parrish.
Yes. I think Parrish is actually number 1, though.
Okay, so
if I'm not mistaken.
Let's put this
Parrish is number 1.
Yes,
1,611 games. Kareem 1,560. Vince Carter 1,541.
Yeah, LeBron needs another season and a half to get
1,421.
to get ahead of Vince, Gerald. Yeah.
Oh,
So
these are regular season games. Yes,
So-
regular season and playoffs
And yeah,
combined.
combined. So let's go ahead and let's go to NBA playoff games. That's the case.
it would be LeBron and Kareem would be 1-2.
I think
I'm not
LeBron
sure.
beat Kareem though. I heard it
I
somewhere.
think LeBron's
That
one
one's
and
that
Kareem's
one's Kareem.
If you guys want to know
1797.
why,
LeBron's third.
so here's the difference between Kareem and LeBron in his years. So,
But anyway, we
get there.
were right. Just didn't have the didn't know who was 1 or 2, but those guys would be 1 and 2.
He's 94 games away from the top. So if he plays 2 seasons, he probably gets that.
Kareem played 62 games. That was his lowest output in 20 years. And then 65 was the next one. And then everything else was like 76, 79, and then 80 and 82. So he played
Right now
a lot.
he's at I think a total of 1703. Is that the number
Very
of
close.
games he has?
Yeah.
He
Very
also has the
close.
highest point per game average of all those guys with the games. Kobe second, Malone third, Kareem fourth, Shaq.
So he's close. He's close.
Mhm.
He's close to getting it. But I don't think he's there yet. Robert Parrish is still number 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yes.
So Robert Parrish with 184 plus his.
Well, no,
16,
Robert
11.
Parrish is second with playoff games. Kareem's number 1 with playoff games.
But
1797.
no, I meant total combined.
Yeah,
total
that's
combined.
what I got. 1797 Kareem, 1795 Parrish. LeBron is 1703.
There you go. All right.
So he's 94 games away from Kareem beat Parrish by 2 games. So Bron is 1703, Kareem 1797. He needs 94 more games combined to get number 1. And if he plays 2 seasons, he'll probably get it.
Yeah,
You'll get it.
he'll get it. Great question there, Intel. Truly appreciate the super chat. Once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us right here. Of course, got Empire Jeff TV, got Joe Soro with his internet is fine right now, so truly appreciate that. And Magic Man Sean Grice. Before we head on out, guys, I wanted to ask you this. There was a trade in the NBA today. You wanted to ask if any contract out there is untradeable. The answer is no. And proving that again, Kevin Porter Jr. Was traded today from Houston to OKC in a package involving some swap of picks, but also as well, Houston getting Victor Oladipo, and I think Robinson Earl is who they picked up in return in regards to that. But for OKC, who also eventually, actually in that same breath, waived Kevin Porter Jr., they got rid of 2 spots because they were, I think, at 19 players as far as with contracts, with guaranteed contracts going into training camp. And they're getting much, much closer to trying to get only 15 guys in the camp, which leads me to the question. I know we're all hoping that they just do it the normal way and they just waive some halfway decent players off the shelf there. And unfortunately, it does not look like that's going to be the case. Jeff, if you're eyeing somebody for that 15th slot still, who would it be? Because it's looking less and less likely they'll come from OKC.
Yeah, I don't believe that player is available or going to be available off the top. Funny story though, I said about a month ago that I dang near predicted this exact trade. like I knew for a fact. Sam Presti, when he's done this numerous times, he'll take the picks for anyone. Doesn't matter. So he's never going to play for them. So this is pretty much almost the exact deal that I threw out there that would happen. And I can't take full credit for that because someone in OKC kind of said I was going in the right direction with that. So outside of that, the 15th guy, I don't even think is available yet. And I think the Lakers have their eye on multiple guys. With the majority of the top tier teams not being able to take part in the buyout market above anyone above the mid-level exception, the Lakers are going to sit back and wait for that guy to become available. And it will. I think teams might get crazy this year. I think some big trades could happen. I think some really big names might move. Some guys are going to shake loose from that. The Lakers are in prime position. So I do not expect them to fill that 15th roster spot until they stop coming up on that 90-day thing for the 2 ways. And that's going to go to at least December. Especially, I've learned also that can be extended by moving guys down to the G League. So that could go dang near half the season almost. So the Lakers may just hold off till they probably got a whiteboard of guys like a draft board. Any of those guys become available and those other teams can't sign them, the Lakers will sit back and wait for their guy. So I don't think that guy is going to be available unless a major trade happens on the eve of the regular season and someone shakes loose. But the answer to your question, I don't know yet because I don't think anyone that's really worth the spot right now that they're looking at. I don't think they're looking at a 15th guy that's going to be a 15th guy. I think they're looking at a 15th guy that can crack the top 10. And I don't know if that guy's going to be available by October 24th. More than likely later.
Magic Man, I know Dante T. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You want Isaiah Joe, and unfortunately,
I would love that.
he's gonna make their roster in OKC. I don't think I have any doubts about that. Magic Man, though, because of the situation with Kevin Porter Jr., he was waived. I know that in our chat, Adam was mentioned they waived KPJ. He's good. Despite what the girlfriend is now saying in regards to saying that he did not strike her and all the allegations that have been gone back and forth in regarding to this case. Again, it just would not be a good move for any NBA team, much less the Lakers, to go ahead and pick up KPJ at this point in time, Magic Man.
No.
It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all.
No, not a good look.
Yeah.
Problems everywhere he's been. Don't need to go through the laundry list of what he's done.
What about someone like Kai Jones, who's also been mentioned in Lakers circles?
No. Gerald.
Also issues there too.
Yeah.
And more to come. More to come.
Yeah. I'm not. I don't. Yeah. That one's more concerning, Gerald. Not just the underlying issues. It's he was writing on the walls. That's very concerning. Grown men aren't supposed to write on walls. That's for toddlers and children.
Is that writing on Joe's walls back there?
Normally, somebody who's doing that is going through something very bad mentally. So, and as you've seen, Gerald, nobody claimed him. He was put on waivers. Somebody could have put a claim in for him. Nobody has.
Went clean right through, didn't he?
Yes, and for obvious reasons.
And what was that?
But Alan,
well, you know what? That's look. I just want to say this, Gerald. It's I know everyone's kind of laughing at that. High highs and low lows are a really big part of mania, and the low lows are very bad, and that's why I think nobody wants to really take a flyer on Kai Jones, because who knows mentally where he's at. Because Gerald, for all the talent that he had coming out of Texas, he fell out of that rotation. And, for all the fanfare that he's received, and I know yourself and a lot of other people kind of saw he looks like a grown man. Like, he doesn't look like a young person. He physically looks like a grown man, Gerald, but he doesn't know how to play with that body at all. And that's why he fell out of the rotation, Gerald. And that's why Mark Williams supplanted him. And if you look back at his Instagram activity, he actually publicly dissed Mark Williams. And as soon as he did that, every player on the Hornets stopped following him on IG and all the other socials. Because if they know something's up, it's only a matter of time before we find out.
I will say this, though. Again, Kai Jones, I think, needs to understand where he is. I mean, all these just so many of these individuals, these guys, Joe, just they're I don't know. I mean, we see Josh Primo. We see, of course, what's going on with KPJ, Kai Jones, Miles Bridges. Is it concerning to you, my friend, that about the image of the league being tarnished by certain individuals making these wrong choices, and it's seemingly I don't want to say an alarming rate, but it's a rate to start, having you like move an eyebrow up, like,
well, you're going to have to take a page from the MLB and just, I mean, look at Trevor Bauer, just like Intel had brought up. They actually, we're not going to tolerate it, even if it's not true. And the NBA is probably going to have to get to a point where, look, we don't care if it's true or not. Make better decisions. Pick better people around you. We're not dealing with this, because the backlash. This is kind of like a LeBron discussion that we had, where they're just waiting, especially the media. The media are scum-sucking pigs, because that's how they make their money, right? They live in the trough of trash. So I just don't want to. You just don't want to deal with it.
I didn't know you could have a trough of trash. I didn't know that.
Is that right near your jacuzzi outside?
Did I do a double negative on that one?
Well, no. Usually,
Was I redundant on that one?
Yeah, usually
Trough
it was,
of trash.
Yeah, yes.
Well,
everybody's now picturing you walking outside, just walking by your horses, just feeding on this
I don't
trough
have horses.
of trash.
I don't have horses.
I got a jacuzzi.
You got
Anyways.
chickens?
And a
Yeah.
trough of cash.
Here's
I don't
what
have
you do.
horses.
Here's what you do. You talk to the NBA.
I don't
Talk
think
to Michelle
Joe-
Roberts. Of course, she's a woman, so that she'll probably understand this a little bit more personally, right? Look, you guys get mixed up with any kind of domestic abuse type thing, you're out. Until someone big does it, then you're in trouble.
Which will happen. Which will happen.
Because right now you're dealing with, and I'm saying this being a Kobe fan too. I mean, Kobe, with that rule, Kobe would have been done in the NBA.
Yeah, I think it comes down to kind of like the smoke where there's smoke, there's fire. If you're someone who's constantly in the midst of stuff like this, either you're doing something or you're just constantly around the wrong people that are doing this. So I understand, like, if it happens like the first time and you've got a clean record, okay, look into it. And if they're exonerated, I get that. But if it's something repetitive, they're all gonna end up on the Clippers anyway, so who cares? But what I'm saying is like they're all like, you can't all just like say, okay, if you mess up once, you're out the league. Like we don't know if that's true or not. But if it's like habitual people, like are constantly doing it, and then you're damaging the brand, then I get that. But if someone off top, like it happens and it's clearly not them, I don't know about running those guys out the league, especially like the young guys who destroy their entire future for making a mistake at 19, But I get it. Like someone like Porter Jr., like, I mean, it's just constant. And what Primo did, like there was proof, tons of proof, like, and like that was just a whole different scenario. So I don't know about putting him out the first time, but I get where you're going. If it's constant, playing the league is a privilege. There's guys out there who don't get a chance to play in the league. They're good guys, not as talented, but can play. And they're just slightly a little less talented, but they're good guys. They can play in the league 10 years just off being a good vet. Give those guys the chances versus the other guys who are going to repeatedly make the same mistake and damage the brand.
We have 4 guys right now, right, that have done this. It's Porter, Primo, Bridges, and who was the other one?
Ty Jones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 guys that I don't think even the media people who follow sports even know who they are, because they don't even watch the games anyways. So I think as long as it's these guys that are unknown, I don't think it's going to resonate as much because the media isn't going to jump on it as much. So yeah, I can understand that. You have your reasoning makes more sense because that's normal. But the problem is these guys, these idiots who run these leagues are so worried about PR. They need to take a page out of Dana White's book a little more. And sometimes just tell someone to F off. There needs to be more of that. And obviously I don't want Adam Silver to say F off. I'm exaggerating.
One of the big differences there, Joe, is that those fighters don't have a players association or a fighters association. They don't have representation behind them protecting their ass.
That, and they're not in like constant negotiations with Disney.
Right.
which is really the major.
I hear what Joe's saying. Overall, I think he's right. I just think it's kind of apples to oranges a little bit because, far be it from one of those fighters to step to the plate and tell him he's wrong to his face, and then you're SOL, you're SOL, and you're in that river of what, Gerald. We're not going to say it, but you're in that river with no paddle.
Trough of trash.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Your UFC doesn't have a superstar. I mean, you sort of had one with John Jones, but he kind of let people down. There's really the reason why UFC is set up the way it is because you don't have any Marvin Haglers and Tommy Hearns and Mike Tysons and Evander Holyfields. You don't have any of those kind of fighters that transcend the sport. You had Conor McGregor,
And controversy probably helps their sport.
Controversy always, like drama with the fighters always helps, obviously. But I think ultimately, good fighters, and then of course, you got fighters that are great that retire and then they're gone, and then now it's like, okay, Khabib was one, right? I don't know. It's a case by case basis at this point. I think with the NBA, and lucky for them, it's not someone like, let's say, Anthony Davis, because then it would be a little bit more of a problem. No one cares about Kevin Porter Jr. I'm sorry, but they don't. Kai Jones, I don't even think 90% of the media knows even who the hell that is.
They didn't know he was a basketball player. They thought he was like a social media.
They thought it was some lady singer. Yeah.
Well, I know what was said in the chat that as far as 15th player really won't make an impression on the team. But I think the way Jeff sees it is you really want to get someone into your Magic Man for the last spot on the team that can actually supersede many other players that are there above him, that actually can make an imprint for someone that maybe feels the need, like right now, backup shooting guard, maybe another wing, maybe another big, but there's spots that the Lakers could use a little bit more help on, and it would be great if we can get someone eventually that can fill that role for the team.
Can I say something real quick? Keep in mind that Christian Wood was our 14th guy. So the 15th guy can be important if he's slotted, 5 through 10. So just then
that's what I'm saying. You get that last spot in there.
The chat saying it's a 15th roster, doesn't matter. Well, if that 15th roster spot ends up being, someone that can crack your top 8, then he's not the 15th guy. He's just the 15th guy to sign. So sorry, Sean. I just wanted to.
No, absolutely. No. Go ahead, Sean.
Jeff hit the nail on the head there. Yeah, I mean, this is in a situation, Gerald, where it's like it's Gerald Dudley at the end of the bench. Yeah, Jared Dudley, that 15th man, just cheering his butt off. Just
let's put things in perspective.
I thought Josh Powell spent a lot of time on his ass.
Christian Wood was once a 15th man. He was once a 15th man who's fighting for a spot on the roster for the Detroit Pistons. So, again, and he didn't play very much.
Yeah, we don't need a cheerleader at the end of the bench. You need somebody who can maybe go in
and make a contribution
on the spot, and you're ready to go. Wheels are up. You're ready to go.
We have a cheerleader. We have Cam Reddish.
Yeah. Touche.
And it's so sad because what Jamie said was right. He looks like a basketball player. He looks like someone who could really do some good things. And then he goes out, and for every good play that he makes, he actually played decent defense on more than one occasion against Damian Lillard, of all people. It's just the problem is, and he hit a couple threes. It's just what was in between. What is in between is the stuff that just makes you scratch your head and just say, man, he's just never going to put it all together. Is he, Jeff?
Nope. He's that guy that shows up to the pickup game with all the gear. You want to pick him first just on how he looks. Then he gets out there and hits the side of the backboard on his warm-up shots. And you're like, what the hell did I just do? So it's like, I'm rooting for Cam. I really am. But it's just, I've been saying all along, it's not going to be on this team. It's the right situation as far as to stay relevant in the league and show that he can be a good soldier, but it's the wrong team for him looking to find minutes behind Max Christie. Like Maxwell Lewis, I'll take over Cam Reddish right now, like any day of the week, because you got an invested future in him. So when I'm looking at Cam, I don't know, this wasn't what the intention of this segment was for, but someone like Cam, it just won't matter. So the Lakers are going to sit back and look back. If they're adding the 15th guy, if they were just worried about having a 15th guy to fill that slot, they would have got JaVale McGee. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for someone else who can make an impact. I think back to our conversation of Braun and AD and kind of lightening the load on them and saving them for the playoffs. If these other guys get injured, this Laker team still has needs. So like I said, I think they have a priority list, but they're not going to go out and sign like a Stanley Johnson. They're not going to go out and get, someone like that. They've got that in Cam Reddish. They've got that in Maxwell Lewis. They've got that in two-way guys. They're looking to see, who falls through the cracks here at a guy that every contender would be tripping over themselves to get if he became available, and none of them can get him. So The Lakers are in prime position. They're, I think, the only quote unquote contender that has the ability to sign any of these players that get bought out of release. Sorry, my dog is doing the Harlem Shake over here. They're the only contender that can sign any of these guys. So the Lakers will have their pick of the litter when it happens. So they're going to wait back and sit for that. Now, maybe a non-guarantee something. I can see some, but that's the 15th guy. But I think they're looking for someone who can make an impact. Another shooter would be ideal. A backup guard that, in case Max Christie doesn't, take that leap that everyone seems to just assume he's going to. It would be nice to have another vet. I think Braun and AD are the only ones 30 and up on this team. Is that correct?
As of now, yes.
Yeah.
As of now.
Another vet would probably be ideal.
I know Prince is close to it. I think he's 29, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah. So another vet would be ideal. But like I said, I don't, just because they're the 15th person signed does not make them your 15th roster spot. If this guy is good enough, some other guys slide down. So I don't know who it is, but the Lakers have their eye on someone, and it's going to be a guy that no other team can get, and that's what they're waiting on, in my opinion.
All right. Great conversation. But Magic Man pointed out something I wanted to mention before we go, and that's an NBA injury that's already starting to happen a little bit. It might not be serious. It might not be a thing, or could lead to something a little bit more deferential to another team in the Western Conference, Magic, and that's Luka Doncic. He's now out of the entire preseason for the rest of the preseason with a calf strain. And it's now kind of iffy whether or not he makes the season opener. This is something where calf strains, as you and I both know, they're pesky. They're tough to get rid of, especially during the season and not the off season. So your thoughts, could this be something for a bad omen for the Dallas Mavericks?
Yeah, Gerald, I think it is. I think last year's Mavs is this year's Mavs, and this year's Mavs is last year's Mavs. I think that's going to be the tail of the tape for them this year.
Mavs.
My God.
Clip's gonna clip.
No. I'll just SSDD. That should be the Dallas Mavericks' new. Instead of Mavs fan for life, it should be SSDD. It's tricky, man. It's tricky, especially with Luka, Gerald. It's like, to be fair, he was like working out a little bit. You saw like him doing those Rocky videos, like like right after the season, just to let everybody know, yeah, I'm working out now. I'm not listening to the Migos and going to 7-Eleven. I'm actually working out, but he still kind of looks doughy.
Very doughy.
Very doughy,
over doughy.
Over doughy, yeah. Like
the guy just must hit the buffet as soon as the season's over. It's crazy.
I know you work out, and you expect us to think that you're Rocky, and then you come back looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I'm not buying it. And I'm not.
Speaking of buying it,
yeah. $30. Thank you.
Shout out.
Let me
hit him. What up? There we go.
Make sure you send that check. Yeah, boy. Yeah,
Intel.
Joe, I hope when you cash that check, the security guard that opens the door just bashes it right in your face.
Just don't fall in the trash.
Joe, he's probably still upset on the flies on the ass thing from earlier. I'm just gonna.
No, you're upset more about it than he is.
No, I just like mentioning it because you got him, and then you got me afterwards. But I thought the
flies
on the ass thing was number one.
Can I say something about the Mavs real quick?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
I think there's more of a chance than people think that the Kyrie Luka situation does not work out early on again. And
I don't think it's going to be a happy partnership.
No, what I'm saying is I think we can see Kyrie on the trade block as early as January.
How do you come up with that?
No,
right.
That's serious.
20 more episodes for everyone out there for Lakers podcast. There
yeah,
you go.
because Gerald, the point of saying, a guy, and you hear it a lot with him, especially over the past 5 years. We've heard the same thing. Oh, well, Luka could get out of bed and average 30, 15, and 8. Yeah, because he does get out of bed and average that because he doesn't pick up any dumbbells.
30 donuts, 8 other pastries.
Doesn't do any leg squats. I bet he does. He does more lifting when he cashes his direct deposit than actually in practice. Again, dude, you're like Gerald. People are gonna pick him to win MVP again. Like I guess somebody's just gonna just keep throwing it on 7 until it comes up 7. I mean, eventually he's probably going to win one.
There's always some GM that's randomly going to pick him for MVP, and there's always some GM that's going to randomly pick the Clippers to win the Western
champion.
Conference.
It's just. But Gerald, you know it as well.
It happened again. It happened again last week.
You know as well as anybody
and
else.
Someone picked the Lakers to not make the playoffs.
Like,
Sorry,
man. Exactly. But the game is, although the game is different, it's different in the sense that, Gerald, if you're not training,
and these 11, are GMs, that's
11 months out of the year,
was it
basically every day from the last day of your season, then you're not going to be an all-NBA player because there's somebody willing to work harder than you. And we see it. Like, Shea is coming up. I'm ready to lap him around Luka. Just based on the productivity. Yeah, so the pressure's on here. And what do we say, Joe? Pressure either bursts pipes or makes diamonds. It's one or the other.
What do you think, Joe? I mean, do you think the Mavs are for real? They made all these changes in the offseason. Grant Williams, Derek Lively. They talked about their starting rookies now. It just seems so just all over the place with the Mavericks.
No. You're not going to win anything with Kyrie and Luka. And Luka being someone who's not really – it's just using his talent right now. He's not wanting to be great. And until he shows us that, and if Luka decides that he wants to be great, that's when you'll see a little bit of a change. No, Dallas is not going to be good, and I don't think OKC is a surprise if they start playing well. They're about to come up here. They have way too much talent, and they're about to come up. I'm just wondering when Presti's going to use his assets to get that last guy. They need one more guy to be title contenders. I don't know who that'll be. Maybe Embiid, but that would be the kind of guy they would need to get to that part of their ascension, if you will.
Embiid will be tough.
It would have to be something like that.
I don't know if they want to do that. So I think the one to keep an eye on Jaylen Brown. Keep an eye on Jaylen Brown for OKC. He's the type of player I think they'll be looking towards. Jaylen Brown, I think they would like to keep.
You mean Williams' brother?
Jalen Williams or Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown from Boston.
Jaylen Brown from Boston.
From Boston. Okay.
About him being traded to there.
Oh, okay.
If this doesn't work this year,
they've got the big bill that they've got to pay for Tatum.
Yeah, so they've got him because they probably they don't want to lose him for nothing. But there's two there's two guys I had my eye on for OKC, and that was Jaylen Brown and Zion Williamson, and those were the two. But from what I'm hearing, they're not too high on Zion. So even if he comes back and plays solid, that could change. But from what I'm hearing, they're not. And they're extremely, extremely high on Chet. And I don't even know if they'd offer him in an Embiid trade for a guy that's 30 and off injured. So, but I think it's gonna be a wing they go for. So, and they got the players, they got the assets.
Brown would make sense because they wouldn't have to get him. They wouldn't have to pay full price. I'm sorry, Magic. They wouldn't have to pay full price because the fact he has such a huge contract and he's a number 2. As opposed to being a top, and who could play a number 2 alongside SGA. That makes sense. And you don't have to throw the whole bank. And plus, they've got almost 20 first round picks and 20 second round draft picks that they can throw any type of combination at Boston. That's just absolutely scary.
Yep,
absolutely.
So I just can definitely see. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I could see something like that happening. And then, like Joe said, they're not a surprise team this year. They were the last 2 years. They're not a surprise team this year. I think they could scare someone and get around in the first round. They absolutely can. So only thing that holds them back this year is a major injury. Outside of that, I think they make the playoffs, not even a play in. I can see them getting as high as like 6. Like they're gonna be good. They're gonna be really good, and they're gonna continue to get better. And like Joe said, if they find a way, I think there might be crazy movement. Crazy move. The boogeyman is coming next summer. That's the real boogeyman. And teams are gonna start when they see if they don't have nothing to play for, and they start looking at their books and what's gonna be out there, and they start eyeing the summer of 26, which has got potential 2010 vibes to it. Teams going to start punting on some of these guys, and OKC is going to be right there, willing to take whoever gets punted.
Did you see that?
Gerald, I was just going to say, I think people should kind of temper expectations this year on kind of the Rookie of the Year award. I think it's just earmarked for Vic at this point.
Are you sure?
See how much he plays.
Yeah, if he plays more than 50 games, they're gonna give it to him. They that's the cutoff.
Did Bron win Rookie of the Year?
He did. LeBron won Rookie of the Year. Yeah.
Did Bron make an All-Star his first year? Didn't.
No.
There was an argument that Carmelo had a better year than LeBron, but they gave it to LeBron anyways.
Well, he did. He did regardless of that, Chet's gonna make an all rookie team. It's gonna be
Chet and Scoot have a real good team.
It's gonna be Victor and Chet who are in the
Intel's asking though, did you see Wembanyama's dunk over Thomas Bryant the other night? Thomas Bryant stupefied looking at the bench. It's like, what am I supposed to do? He's 7'5". What's going on?
I can't get off the ground.
I don't know if Wemby's going to play enough games. Like he's not in the resting rule policy. And San Antonio is, if they're not playing for nothing,
NBA better find that
they can't.
That butthead.
Yeah, they can't. They don't qualify. Nothing about Wemby qualifies him for the player participation rules.
The big fly in the ointment that the Spurs have with that situation is that they specifically put the Spurs on national television a lot in the first 6 weeks because of this in-season tournament. So
the Wemby Cup.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's the Wemby Cup.
That's kind of what it is. Yeah, Jeff's got
shut down after that.
Got a point there. Yeah. So I mean, this is going to be very, very interesting. Very interesting, Gerald. But I will say this: I agree though. I wouldn't put all my chips in on Vic just running away with the award. Chet had a year off, man, and I know Blake Griffin and Ben Simmons both had a year off too. Neither one, one of them found a foothold a little bit. The other one really didn't. Chet has a different attitude than those two guys, Gerald. He's got the you get me, I get you. He's willing to throw dirt back at you if you throw dirt at him. And I think that was an attitude that was kind of missing with Blake Griffin and Ben Simmons when they were missing their season. So I think it's going to be a kind of a revenge season for Chet.
And he's had a whole year to learn what it's like to be a vet before he even steps on the court. So while those other guys are trying to figure that out, he'll be in cruise control on that already.
I'll tell you what, it's been a great conversation. Truly appreciate the 30 likes out there, and also appreciate Intel Wild's extreme kindness in the super chat. Again, very much appreciated. Joe, any last thoughts before we head on out, my friend? Because it was a great episode, great conversation. Empire Jeff, and I'll make sure Empire Jeff gets to plug his channel before we head on out, my friend. Any last thoughts, Joe, before we head on out?
No.
Okay. It's simple no. But Empire Jeff, you got a lot of things going on always at Empire Jeff TV. Make sure you let everybody know out there that's watching and listening exactly what you're up to at Empire Jeff TV.
Empire Jeff TV has been off for about a week. I was out of town, and back tomorrow with Around the League with Dan the Laker fan, Christian, and me's the GM. We launched a clothing line called Court Kings about a week ago, so you can check that out at shopcourtkings.com. It's kind of what I've been working on most of the last week. Haven't had as much time for YouTube, but I'm coming back tomorrow. So I'm going to try to knock out multiple episodes in the next week and kind of get back in the rhythm of it. That's why I want to come on here tonight too. I haven't really been on YouTube for about a week, so got a lot going on. But thank everyone for the support. You guys always for the support. Appreciate you guys all the time. I've been trying to get back here. It's been a couple of weeks. Just our schedules haven't lined up, and every time I've been somewhere where you guys are on, it's very loud, and I don't want to come up and just disturb the peace here. So. But I definitely appreciate you guys for going and checking me out. Empire Jeff TV on YouTube.
Chaos.
We'll have some episodes coming. I got one coming tomorrow and multiple throughout the rest of the week. So check it out. And if you guys like what you hear, going to shoot you guys subscribe, man. Trying to get next goal is 500. I think I'm at 401 now. So next goal is 500. And appreciate everyone to help me get there, and appreciate you guys for helping me get to where I'm at so far. So thank you guys.
There you go. Absolutely. No worries. And we go ahead and check out Empire Jeff TV, wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube. Please subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when he goes live, and also subscribe to us to make sure you get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air. Alan says in the chat, why does Joe smile like a frat boy looking at his date's parents?
You're a weird guy, Joe. You're a weird guy, Joe. Weird guy.
I think he's been watching too much Dexter. I don't know. It just seems so weird.
Dexter,
the first version.
The Dexter was a good show. The first 4 or 5 seasons, I think.
It got a little crazy, but
it's not a repeat show. I didn't want to go back and watch it.
What was your favorite season? Trinity season?
Yeah,
Trinity was. Shout out to John Lithgow, man. That was an incredible season.
I mean, John Lithgow's a talk about.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. That season 1, season 2, and then season 3. Season 3 was the one for me. Season 1 and season 3. The Doomsday stuff was kind of crazy too, but those ones, anyways.
No worries. Intel said Dexter's last season was trash. Watch out.
I think
season?
The original writer ended up not finishing off. Well, once the original wrider went
when he came back, yeah,
you could tell. You could tell
those shows, man. The Showtimes and the HBOs. They you notice Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, all had issues with this stupid decision makers in those places. That's one of the big reasons why I have my own gig, so I don't have to answer or deal with numbnuts trying to tell you what to do with stuff that you know what you're doing. And that's the funny thing is these guys are already successful. Why do you want to mess with it? The Breaking Bad, see, the guys at AMC, they knew. Watch them. Let Vince Gilligan do his thing, and they'll make you money.
So good.
Yeah.
Do they? Because they kind of ruined The Walking Dead.
I haven't watched it. Yeah, but that was a whole different. They booted that guy after the second season with Darabont, right? They booted the guy who created the show.
They went to litigation and all that.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, that show I didn't even know there was another show on right now. The Daryl one. I didn't even know that was on.
There was the Negan one with There was.
I didn't even watch that. That already aired.
Yeah, that already aired. Yeah. It was like 6 episodes. Yeah, that already aired, and then this Daryl one just ended. Then next year they're gonna do the one with Michonne and Rick coming back. So
and
it hasn't been the same since.
Norman Reedus's best badass role was in the Boondock Saints. It was not in The Walking Dead.
He was good. No, he was good early, especially early on in The Walking Dead. He was, but I agree with that. I agree with you. But that show kind of, I would say, slightly. It almost was good up until when Negan arrived. Then it just like even if the Woodbury was good, when Negan arrived, that intro.
That was when they were averaging 15 to 18 million viewers, and then
about halfway through his arc of leading the Saviors, it just kind of.
That's exactly where it died, and they took away the grittiness of the show.
Yeah,
they started turning it into this. We needed to know what everybody's feelings were. It was like a microcosm of society.
It was,
and that's when I started pulling the one finger salute that Sean's good at doing.
Yeah, but the first 5-6 seasons, whatever it was incredible television. After that, no.
Yeah, the Negan introduction was. I said it right. That was some of the best TV I've ever seen in my life.
I'd read the books and the comics. I'm not even a comic guy. That's how much I liked The Walking Dead, that it led me to comics, like to read their actual comic books and the books leading up to it, like the Governor story and all that. Like I did all that. I was in. They had me hooked, man. And then And then it just, I don't know what the hell they did. It just fell apart.
I know what they did. I'll say it off air because I don't want Gerald to have a conniption.
There you go. All right, but that does it for us here at the Lakers Fast Break. Please tune in tomorrow. We got more great episodes coming up your way tomorrow. We'll be talking about what's going on with the Lakers and the NBA news, and also maybe will the WNBA Finals end tomorrow? We'll find out. But also as well, please join us 7 p.m. on Thursday, live on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, where the Lakers will go ahead and meet up with the Suns in the final exhibition game. So definitely looking forward to that. So for Joe Sorrell, Empire Jeff TV, and also Magic Man Chuck Rice, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much for watching this thing. We'll see you tomorrow with more Lakers and NBA coverage right here at the Lakers Fast Break podcast. You know what? Again, truly appreciate everyone out there. Intel Wild, incredible. And thank you again for supporting us at the
Don't
Lakers
forget
Fast
to send a check.
Yes, don't forget to send the check. Yes.
The check's in the mail.
Yes. Checks in the mail coming up. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.
For the record.
Big shout out to you, Intel. Thank you. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Intel.